Good morning. We're out here on Long Lake with our aquatic resource specialist, Cole Webster, and Doug Karman, the chair of the Long Lake Steering Committee, and Barry Halverson. They invited me out today. We're going to be doing some water sample testing. So we're kind of out in the middle of the South Basins.
You said it was like 15 feet right here?
14.
14. So temp is 22.5.
Temperature 22.5.
DO is 109.2.
Dissolved oxygen is 109.2.
Conductivity is 138.9.
Conductivity is 138.9.
pH is 7.19.
pH is 7.19 at a depth of
0.5 meters.
0.5 meters.
Temp is 22.6. DO is 110. Conductivity is 139.1. pH is 7.61.
So are you going to do this at every meter?
Yep.
So they're recording this information of temperature, dissolved oxygen, conductivity, and pH at every meter down to the bottom, which would be about 14 feet.
This is I believe it's a Kemmerer water sampler.
Okay.
So what happens is you lower, so what happens, you got this catch right here.
Right.
You lower it down to your depth that you want to sample, and then you have this thing that's it's called a messenger.
Right.
And then what happens, it pops it,
And closes it.
Closes it, captures the water, you bring it up, and then you can release the water into whatever.
Cole's doing the Secchi Disk, which gives you water transparency or turbidity. He's going to lower it down till he can't see the disc and then read the depth. And bring it up to where he can just barely see the disc. And get the distance.
10 feet.
10 feet?
Yep.
So that's the Custer color wheel that was developed to determine the
There's so much algae in the water.
Actually, it's pretty clear though.
Or zooplankton, you can
Yeah.
just see it all the.
I'm just trying to. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can see the floating. Gives you the color on the Custer color strip at a 6. And the sample bottles you order from the lab.
You request them, they'll send them to you with the cooler, so that you don't have to.
And what lab are you using for this?
We use Edge Analytics. They're out of Burlington, Washington.
Burlington?
Yep.
Okay. So they're doing all your water testing at one place?
The sample analyzation of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for phosphorus, they have to have they put the sulfuric acid in it for you already. So like.
So are you taking phosphorus levels at different depths?
Yeah, so I'll do one at the surface, one at the bottom, and then I'll do an algae grab at this, like about a meter in.
Okay. Checking for on these lab tests is phosphorus levels.
For these ones, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we'll do like algae species composition and density for the algal samples, so that you can kind of see how the algae community is changing with the phosphorus levels.
Okay. And is that done on the surface or is that done at the bottom?
The algae will be done at the surface.
Okay.
But the algae ones are considerably more expensive because people have to actually go in there and count them and ID. So, I mean,
Well, he's getting ready to send the messenger down to allow the water to flood into the tube.
You open the surface one. Yep, that one right there.
Water's pretty clear, isn't it?
Rinse the
22.5 centigrade, whatever the heck that is.
Oh, that's 1 meter down though,
Yeah,
half a meter down. Yeah. So how deep are we taking this one?
This one we're going to try to get it right off the bottom,
Okay.
not without trying to disturb the bottom, because there's a lot of phosphorus in there. And put the algae sample in one of these collection bottles. It has a special type of iodine in there, so it preserves the algae species, and then it gets preserved for quite some time with this. So.
Is that sent to you by the lab too?
No, I had to purchase it. You can request it. So the lab, the algae processing is done through a different lab.
So how much iodine do you put in a bottle this size?
It's like 2% to 5%, and so I think I was
Okay.
putting about 2 to 3.
This looks like about a 12-ounce bottle.
Yeah, I believe so. It's a 250 milliliter bottle, or
Yeah.
and I put about, I think, 2 to 3 milliliters of iodine in there.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
You guys should have no problem.
Yeah, we were out there on the lake with Thurston County Department of Health and Environmental Services yesterday. They're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
What was interesting to me is that the temperatures, the depth, the turbidity, the Secchi Disk,
Yeah, all the same.
for our lake and this one.
Yeah. So when I was, usually when you, best case scenario when you're doing you're looking at like a lake and how is it changing, you always want to find like a reference lake, something that's like basically untouched.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at all the lakes in western Washington, lowland lakes, based on like surface area, depth, elevation of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only one that was comparable really to Long Lake was Lake Lawrence.
Lake Lawrence,
and
yeah.
then there's one out in Mason County called Nahuatl Lake, and that's the other one. And so that, if you were ever going to look at a comparison, that's the one you would use to compare to both of your lakes, because it's almost similar in surface area, elevation,
Eutrophic status.
well, no, the eutrophic status of that one is pretty pristine. It's like
Okay.
super pristine. And so if you wanted to look at what maybe your lake should look like in comparison, obviously it's never going to be a direct.
Is it an urban or rural?
It's a rural one. So,
Rural lake.
Yeah,
Not a lot of.
It doesn't have very much development in the watershed.
So this is the channel between South Lake and North Lake, and North Basin for Long Lake. Very similar to Lake Lawrence. where we have East Lake, West Lake, or Main Lake, Little Lake, however you want to refer to it. I imagine it's pretty shallow through here.
It's about 5 feet.
5 feet, so very similar to ours. Ours is about 5 to 6 feet. So the North Basin's a little bit larger than the South Basin.
Yes, in overall size, but you got Holmes Island in the middle of it.
So the north side of the lake, a little bit more spread out. Looks like a community park here on the right.
No, that's Carpenter Park,
Carpenter Park.
which was sold to a developer. The big house on the hill bought it. They're going to put 32 homes in there. There, we're at 17 feet. All right,
So we're hitting at 17 feet in the North Basin, and we're going to do the water testing again for the North Basin. And I'm going to put my camera down and help Cole instead of holding this thing up. There's an island just as you come through the channel into the South Basin. It's about the same size as our BLM, or Bureau of Land Management island, on the south end of Lake Lawrence. So we're going to go ahead and end this video today. Water testing and sampling at Long Lake. Cole Webster, our aquatic resource specialist and water sampler. And Doug Karman, our boat captain from Long Lake. This is Barry Halverson from Lake Lawrence. You have a great day.